Hello and welcome back to the Bed Podcast. Today we'll be speaking about our 2024 recruitment, 2023 performances and season so far, the 2 games left of course, and we'll be reviewing them 2 games as well, and also potential recruitment as well. So sign off with the 3 new signings in Herman SA, Jaden Ockenbott and Franklin Pelle. Obviously SSA is a big impact to the pack with Pelle as well. 2 players that are replacing Satai, and I think it's players that we needed. You know, obviously a very weak pack this year, and we've been sure it's shown obviously within our within games where we've played teams with a lot bigger pack, and they've kind of been on top most of the game because of their forwards. Obviously Jaden Ockenball, who is a second row stroke winger, I'm pretty sure he's being asked, he will be playing mostly second row. I've heard from Tony Smith in an interview, but he's a good versatility player, and he's there in any position, and I suppose he can cover 2 positions that be needed. Herman SA's stats then, he's got 129 NRL appearances, he's got his defence, tackles made is 348, tackle efficiency is 95.6, running metres is, average running metres are 94, and total running metres is 1,880. Yeah, so I think obviously big numbers there, and like I said, it's what we needed, and yeah, I think it'll definitely be something. It'll be definitely a big addition to our forward pack, despite the fact we're losing Satai, who is a big loss, but not when you've replaced him with 2 very strong players. Next on to Franklin Pelle's stats. He's only played 7 first grade games, but he's played a lot of second reserves, is what they call it for the second grade, I think. So he's got 7 first grade games for the Bulldogs and Sharks. In attack he's got tackle breaks he's got 14, and average hit-ups is 5. Post contact meters is 145.1. Not sure what Satires are, but obviously I think again he will be our number 10 next year. You'd think, and I think it's a good replacement from the videos we've seen of him. When all announced him, but it's whether he can live up to it. Obviously not playing that many first grade, and Super League's not as good as the NRL, I suppose, in that sense. But it can be tough for players, like you saw. So yeah, it completely depends on the attitude, and I'm sure Tony Smith will get the best out of these players, and that's what you want from a team. Obviously disappointing the year this year, but yeah. We've also been linked with Tristan Saylor, and Jack Walker's apparently a done deal. Tristan Saylor, I think looks almost like Bevan French. Someone said on Twitter. I think, yeah, and I mean, I've also heard that he's not officially signed. He's also got St Helens on, I think. St Helens and Catalan are also after him, and I mean, it makes sense for St Helens because obviously not St Helens, Catalan replacing Tompkins. St Helens, we've got Wellesby. I suppose it doesn't really make sense unless they're trying to change Wellesby into a 6, but then it's like they've got Lomax there and Dodd, so I suppose Catalan is the only one that makes sense. We don't really need him in the sense that we've got 4 fullbacks already, and Truman we really need a 7, which, moving on to Morgan Smith, who in a whole Daily Mail today, which is Monday, sorry, was linked with us. Dan Tomlinson has said that we've signed him apparently, and obviously Hull Live have been accurate on every single signing we've had so far, so he's a hooker / halfback, played for Wakefield, stood out in every game that they've played well in, and not really stood out in, so you do want a good 7, if you know what I mean, an actual 7, but if that's the route we're going down, you've got to trust Tony Smith and what he wants to do. Jack Walker again, has been really, really positive for Rovers this year. I think he's really excelled. I think, he's been in some good form and no injuries, and I think that's really helped him. And obviously the loan deal he had here last year, it was very positive as well. Played against Rovers and Magic, and I think it was very good that game, and he obviously got the man of the match. But I think we should have maybe kept him on. But again, you've got Texai coming in. It was, I suppose it was very difficult. Again, we've got another fullback coming in, and we've got Davila and Texai, so it does show that Texai will probably be playing most of season 6 next year, and Tripman with him. Maybe it's difficult. I couldn't tell you. I'm not. Obviously, I don't know any of Tony Smith's plans. He could be signing Walker as a backup, and then it's like it's a very harsh on Walker because he deserves a first team slot. I think at a team, and I think after his form at Rovers, and I know Rovers had a lot of injuries, and that's why he signed him, but it showed why he should stay. But yeah, to me and what, and I'll show a few clips of Walker at Rovers and Sailor here, but yeah, I just think we don't need another fullback now. Walker's apparently signed, but it's difficult. I suppose you just don't know what Tony Smith's thinking, and I mean it's going to be impossible to replace Clifford anyway because you've got to get a player of that calibre. And there was links with Adam Clude, who's now going to Huddersfield apparently, and so it's difficult. But again, you do want a 7, and I think most Hull fans would agree with that. You want a 7. Moving on to recent form, then I mean, just doing it. We haven't spoken about the actual games since we've started the podcast. So, probably just give you a season overview, my thoughts on what the season's been. On 1 and 2, the usual first 2 game wins, and gets you excited, I suppose, and as a fan, and then going into Catalan, which at the time I suppose you expect to win, and it's tough going there obviously. So defeat there, I mean, 38-6 isn't brilliant. I suppose it's it's Catalan and it's hard to get a win there. Obviously they've been a good team this year, so it didn't look too bad looking at it then. In round 4 we played Salford, if I'm right. I don't know the order of these, so if I'm wrong obviously I apologise, but yeah, Salford, don't even know, like 62 something like it, or just awful. Really, really poor display, I think. But again, I think it was one of them where the players were trying to get used to Tony Smith's style of play, and I think it was a bit of a struggle because they're not used to it. They're used to you can make all these excuses up, but again, it's just disappointing getting defeated like that against Salford, and really, really has impacted our season, in fairness, I think. But yeah, I obviously then played St Helens, and unbelievably close. Roger at the end, almost scoring, but just drops the ball at the end, and it's gutted. You're right, we haven't been beaten St Helens since 2017, and that could have been the moment, but that didn't matter now. Well, that doesn't matter now, obviously, but and then it carried on. I think Rovers is in between this the 40-0 game. Probably I don't think any fans want us to talk about that. But yeah, disappointing. No, it seemed like there was no effort or passion into the game. You couldn't even get up for a derby, and it's disappointing. Obviously, I suppose you can't say that as a fan. You don't know how it was going for all at the time, and I suppose it might have been difficult. Losing that many games on the bounce, and it's just, yeah, I suppose it's difficult and that, but, eventually we got our win against Huddersfield, and that really, set us into a bit of form, like, in sort of May time. I think we hit a bit of good form, and it was like, oh, we seem to be a Tony Smith side. Not necessarily the Huddersfield game, but the not Wakefield, the Cass game in the cup where we beat them by a bit. I think we just showed the real, there was some really, really, really good tries, like the Jack Brown one, the Clifford, Clifford Swift quite well. It just showed that what we've been working on, if you know what I mean, and it was good to see a full performance from the team that had been lacking in recent weeks. Obviously, I think that was the start of a 3 in a row. I think it was Huddersfield, the Wigan game as well. That defensive performance was obviously one of our best. I think we really played well at attack in the first half, and I think then in the second we really, really dug deep, and we deserved to win that game. 100%, we 100% deserved to win that game. The Truman Simbin, which was a really smart idea, considering no, you wouldn't think, oh yeah, but it saved us, and it won us the game. And I think again, it's when you started believing a little bit more, and think, oh, we could do something this year. Then obviously Wakefield, I think we played. Some of these are really not in order, I don't think. I just thinking of them up at the back of my head. But Wakefield, we played again really well and just got a win. Just got the win done. Didn't, no scare of losing, which whole fans had panics about, because it had been such a very much such a whole thing to do. But again, got the win, and really started our form again. I'm trying to think who moved on. Played Castleford, then I want to check these because I honestly can't remember who we played, and usually my memory is really good. Right, we'll go. Alright. Alright. So. Right, here we go. So we played Cass in the Cup, then it was Salford away, which again, very close. I think it was a very good game, Salford's a really entertaining team, and it was two entertaining teams going at each other. And, it was very much I'm trying to find the word to explain it. It was a back-to-back game, if you know what I mean. It was, they scored, we scored, and obviously Salford, unfortunately, when it took it at the end, really sneak chop goal, and it was unfortunate. It was very unfortunate, and we played really well that game, and I think we deserved to win. We then went on to Magic. George went 10-0 down, and Carl was like, oh no, we're not going to win here. And then it was such a brilliant second half performance of Griffin hat-trick. It was when Griffin really started hitting form. I think he scored against Salford, and then he scored an hat-trick against Warrington in the cup at Magic, and just really started hitting form, and it showed. I think it was really good to see. He'd had a few couple of years where he'd struggled. Obviously, it's last year in 2022 when he'd just come back from a Achilles injury, and he hadn't really recovered, like he said in the last episode. This when we had him on. So for him to come back and be playing this well this season was really positive for him, and obviously all fans loved it. Then went on to Lee away. I think we were just very disappointing performance. I think Lee just showed the class really. I think obviously Lee were really hitting for well on form at the time, and I just think I think we missed out on a lot of opportunities. If you know what I mean, we didn't score when we could have scored, and so on and so on. But it was unfortunate. It was very very unfortunate. But again, it's sort of games you've got to win. If you know what I mean. The Challenge Cup quarter final against St Helens at home. Kendall show really. Where Griffin's obviously career came to an end really, got the red card, and he said, I mean, Kendall's probably cost him that because he said what he thought he said, but obviously Griffin knew what he said, and disappointing game, and I mean we had it for the win sort of, and that red card really kind of blew it for us, and it's disappointing, but again it's just part and parcel of the game, I suppose. I mean, Griffin should never really gone at the ref like that, if you know what I mean, but it was justified considering what he tried speaking to him and then got a yellow card for it, and obviously maybe shouldn't have carried on, and maybe an umpire should have pulled him away, but again, it's happened, and Griffin's now at Wakefield, and trying to keep them up, and you just got to thank Griffin for his services at all, and yeah, sad to see him go. Obviously, I think that this game was definitely when, but again we could have won this game if it wasn't for the red card, and we still showed fight. We showed a lot of fight, definitely, but it just Saints, when you won't beat Saints with 12 men, you know what I mean. You've got to have a full 13 out there, and they showed the class again. But you moved, and moving on to St Helens again at home in the league. Absolutely unreal performance. 1-17. Absolutely unbelievable performance. I think to do the champions like that, or World Cup champions like that, 38-6 I think it was. I mean, that is, that was a sign of it was sort of a revenge game, if you know what I mean. It's sort of all that anger you had piled up from the last game, from the decisions. It was like, they showed it to them and really performed well, like they really played well, and I think, that's again when you thought, we can get playoffs this year, and we then moved on to Carvan at home, and I mean, as much as it was disappointing to lose, I think we still played really well considering they were top of the league again, and we never gave in. We was always there, we was always with them, and there's nothing much else you can ask for us as a fan. They gave 100% and almost beat them, but so close but yet so far, I suppose, in that aspect, in that game, and it's disappointing, but it's one of them. They're the best team in the league. It's always going to be hard to beat them, and I think we're just a bit disappointing. Again, I think I've said disappointing about 100 times so far, and it's going to keep going on, I think. But we then moved on to Rovers away. We had plenty of things to justify considering they came to our home ground, and did us 40-0 and embarrass us in front of our own fans, and we had to return the favour. We did, not as thingy, but it was just a bit bittersweet to get one over them, and like that. Well, Jack Walker again didn't celebrate in that game when he scored, which now looking at it, considering we were signing him, looks a bit like maybe it was always planned for him to come back to Hull eventually. But Swifty, is this the start of it when he starts scoring like 9 games in a row, first try scorer? we are really gonna miss him. I'll speak about the players that are leaving at the end of the episode, but again, Swifty, first half performance was awful, and he got put into touch I think 2 times, and then second half he showed his class, and did Jack Walker with a step, and yeah, I think that was when Cam Scott really really form as well. So them two together was our probably best centre wing partnership this season. Obviously Sutcliffe, when it's always going to play, so is Tuma Vardy, but I think Cam Scott will definitely be pushing for that number 3 off or number 3 shirt next year, I think. And I think he probably deserves it, considering how well he's played this season. He's really kicked on under Tony Smith, and I think he's been one of the best players this season, along with Swift. And I think him and Swift, that game were really positive. I'm not sure if he played together, but obviously I don't think they actually played together that game. But again, even still, him and Swift, I think we're the best partnership we could have asked for in the times when Sutcliffe was out, and it's real positive considering the last few years he's been a bit when's he going to hit form, but he really has now, and I think it shows what Tony Smith has done with him, and a few of them actually. I think Truman, I should have probably said this earlier on, but I think we really missed Truman in the weeks where we was getting beat. I think once Truman came back against Wigan, he didn't really click, but then when we carried on, Hoy and Clifford really clicked on at Magic. And then I think obviously Hoy getting injured at Rovers again was probably not brilliant for our season, but Truman and Clifford were really a good partnership, and it will be disappointing not to see him next year with Clifford leaving, and obviously the other Achilles injury that Truman's got. But again, it's part and parcel of the game, and he'll recover in late February, and obviously hopefully come back stronger than ever, and hopefully no more of them injuries. It's sad that because he's been really good. He's been one of our best players, I'd say, Truman. So but he'll be back next year, and hopefully with a 7. But you don't know at the minute, do you? We then played Castleford at home, Armed Forces round. Satire and Swift. The Swift try when Satire just bullied the cast defence. Again, it's one of the reasons he's going to miss Satire, but we replaced him really well. And I think we've just added to our pack. But yeah, I think Cascade just dominated. I think not much really to say there. I think we just really dominated the game, and I think again it's kind of just same old all really with the end of the season fall off. But obviously this week we've got Huddersfield at home again. Not confident one bit, but it's a send off for many players at home. Clifford, obviously Gaz Ellis, who was leaving, who we'd love on the pod if we could, but obviously Clifford, Savelio, Swift, it will be a massive loss. I don't think I can fathom how much we'll miss him. Replacing him with Liam Tyndall, who you've got to be confident with the young, the people who Tony Smith signing, but you're going from Swift to a young lad who don't really get a game time at Leeds, so obviously a good bye to Satai. I think that's it. But it's been a disappointing season overall. Hopefully we can get 2 wins against Huddersfield and St Helens just for pride, but St Helens can see them getting as many points as they can, or as they can finish top. It depends obviously on how other games can go, or they might just be happy with where they are and play a weakened team. But I can see them wanting to get top of the league, having that week off. Has done them all good in previous years, and they'll probably get 5 in a row. But personally, I hope it's Wigan or Lee, but I don't know. I don't think Lee will do it, but hopefully it's Salford maybe. But again, I don't think Salford have been good enough this year to then get into a grand final. So it'll probably be say it's Wigan, won't it? And then but there's 2 more that are coming in. Obviously, for Liam Tyndall, we spoke about when we were speaking about Swift, and then Jack Ashworth from Huddersfield, who hasn't really been playing, and I suppose it's turns people hopefully get the best out of them, and that's what you've got to hope for. But yeah, right. That's a wrap from me. Hopefully more guests coming on in the coming weeks towards the end of the season. We're trying to get Jake Clifford on as like a farewell podcast, but I can't see it happening. But yeah, we'll probably try and get Scott Taylor on as well, obviously retiring. All the players that retiring we can get on and leaving. Love to get Swifty on. I think he's a right laugh, obviously, But yeah, just leave us your thoughts down below of who you'd want us to get on, and that's been us for this year, and that was our review. Anything you think, anything you disagree on, just let us know, and not really these podcasts would be perfect because it's just me, and I feel very awkward to doing this. So yeah, we'd love for someone to come on and join us. So DM us on Twitter if you want to come on, and we'll try and get it arranged. But thank you for watching, and see you next week, hopefully. And speaking about St Helens, hopefully doing more in content in or like after before or after the games with fans next year, or try and do it this year like before Saints. But completely depends on whether we can, if you know what I mean. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for the huge support on the Josh Griffin podcast. Hit 100 subscribers on it, and from it, and nearly 700 views. But yeah, we want that to carry on, if you know what I mean. We want to entertain, and we want to be a good podcast for everyone else to watch. And we kind of want to dive more deep into rugby league itself, not just OFC next year. To gain a wider audience, and sort of just to, think it means we can get more guests on, like, retired players on and sort of thing. So yeah, thanks for watching.